Hello, friends. Welcome back to our journey through the Bible. When we think of Jesus, most picture a baby in a manger, wrapped in cloth, quiet and small. But the Bible opens a deeper mystery. In the beginning was the Word. John 1:1. Jesus didn't begin in Bethlehem. He was already there before time existed, before mountains rose, before oceans roared, before light even knew how to shine. He didn't come into creation. He created it. And when God said, "Let there be light," the Word went forth. And it was Jesus today. We look at Jesus not just as the Savior who came, but as the Creator who spoke first. Let's step into that beginning together. John 1:1-3, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made. Let's see what Job 38:1-7 has to say about it. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me if you know so much. Who determined its dimensions and stretched out the surveying line? What supports its foundations, and who laid its cornerstone, as the morning stars sang together and all the angels shouted for joy? In Job 38, God describes the moment of creation like a heavenly celebration. He speaks of foundations, boundaries, stars singing, and angels shouting for joy. It was a moment of glory, majesty, and awe. And Jesus, the Word, was not watching. He was doing it. He measured the heavens. He carved the oceans. He hung the stars in place. This is the same Jesus who would later walk among fishermen and weep with Mary. He was always God, not only in love and mercy, but also in creative power and eternal glory. In Genesis 1:1-3, it says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And God said, 'Let there be light.' And there was light." And in Psalm 33:6-9, "By the word of the Lord the heavens were made, and by the breath of his mouth all their host. For he spoke, and it came to be. He commanded, and it stood firm." Creation was not silent. It was spoken into existence by the Word. And John tells us that Word is Jesus. Creation didn't begin with a bang. It began with a voice. "Let there be," Genesis 1. Those words weren't empty. They were filled with a person. They were filled with the Word, who is Jesus. All things were made through him, John 1:3. Jesus didn't come to fix a broken world he didn't know. He came to redeem the very world he designed. You were not made by accident. You were not formed by random chance. You were spoken into existence by the living Word himself. And that same Jesus is still speaking today. Over your life, over your chaos, over your destiny. Just like the earth before creation was formless and empty, he speaks light into your darkness. He calls your identity into being. He speaks purpose into places that feel wasted. Colossians 1:15-17. The Son is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn over all creation. For in him all things were created, things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible. All things have been created through him and for him. He is before all things, and in him all things hold together. Hebrews 1:1-3. Through the Son, he created the universe. The Son radiates God's own glory and expresses the very character of God, and he sustains everything by the mighty power of his command. These verses don't just say Jesus was there. They say he is the cause, the center, and the sustainer of all creation. He didn't just make things. He holds them together right now, including you. You were made on purpose, by the Word, through the Word, and for the Word. The same voice that called galaxies into motion also formed you in your mother's womb. The same voice that said, "Let there be light," now says over you, "You are mine." You are not an accident. You are a creation of Christ, and He is still speaking over you. Let's think. Do I see Jesus as my Creator or just my Savior? What part of my life feels formless and void? What would it mean for Jesus to speak into it? Final reflection. Jesus is not new to this world. He is older than time, wiser than the stars, and more powerful than the ocean's roar. And yet, this same Word, the one who measured the universe, came down to be held by human hands, so that you could know His heart. All things were made through Him, and you are one of those things. So walk today knowing this. You are spoken, created, and loved by the Word. See you next time.